Alright you lot, so I've covered the new plaza building from the movie Die Hard in my previous videos, but let's not forget they've actually added a new Killstreak into Warzone, which is the combat bow that Rambo uses. You're now also going to find Rambo hideouts and shacks all around the Warzone map, which you can actually go to loot and find this combat bow. Now this thing is devastating against vehicles and kind of players really. That's if you can land your shots with it. There's a couple things I need to go over, like where you can actually find a bow, how you're able to call in a bombardment and wipe people out at the CIA headquarters, and then test the damage against vehicles and players. As always, make sure you like the video and leave a comment on what you think about this combat bow Killstreak. Does it have potential? Is it going to be worth your time? Or is it just another trash thing that they put into the game? Let me know. And make sure you sub to me. I'm bringing out regular content for you lot. So the first thing to note is the shacks around the map. This is where you're going to be able to find dog tags which you can retrieve. Now the dog tags are a little bit weird. They're part of the 80s action heroes mission challenges, where one of them says in Warzone collect 3 Rambo POW dog tags, which gives you some XP and a title. But you can also use them to call in a bombardment. So if you haven't been around a military base, you're now going to find a CI headquarter at Hangar 21. And if you go inside here, sometimes there's a chance for a combat bow to spawn. It is a place where it does normally end up. But if you head inside and head over to this map with the knife in it, you can activate this, which is going to update and show you every single Rambo hideout in the map. The thing you got to remember is that you don't need to do this every time for the combat bow to spawn. You can just jump into a game, go to one of these spots if you can remember them, and the combat bow will be there. It's key to actually remember these spots, as you're going to want to go here and search for the bow. If you end up going to the hideout, you're going to find some fallen dog tags. You can bring these back to the headquarters, go up the stairs, and you're going to see a radio which you can use to call in the bombardment at your current location, which will clear anyone around. And this is a little bit of a hotspot. Quite a few people go here. Kind of similar to the bombardments I called in with the zombie locations in my previous videos, if you guys remember. But after the bombardment finishes, a helicopter will actually come in. And if you destroy this, you can destroy this with a combat bow. If you have it, it only takes like 2 hits because this thing is devastating against vehicles. Once you destroy it, it will actually in fact drop a crate, and looting this gives you another set of dog tags. Right now aren't being used for anything else apart from the 80s mission challenge. But going back to the Rambo locations, there are 10 scattered around the map. Here you have the chance to find the combat bow. I did try it in a few games where I landed at a certain camp, and 70% of the time the bow would always spawn there. Me and my duo partner Jord went to 2 different Rambo shack locations, and both combat bows would spawn there at the exact same time. So I guess this kind of proves the theory that there's always going to be more than one around the map. You're only going to be able to pick this up once, and you can't resupply with these arrows. I mean, I've tried it with an ammo box. It just acts like a kill streak. Once you shoot all 6 arrows, this thing's going to disappear. You've also got to remember that this is a kill streak, so if you're buying UAVs off the store, you're going to drop the combat bow. And yes, I did get one of my friends to pick up the bow, which had 1 bullet, and it still had 1 bullet in it. I thought, like, you know, maybe if I dropped the UAV, they picked up the combat bow, the ammo would refresh on it. No, it didn't. As long as you go to one of these locations at the start of the game, 70% of the time, the combat bow will be there. Now you're wondering, how decent is the bow against players or vehicles? Well, boys, it's extremely good. Taking care of vehicles, the light vehicles such as the Jeep and the buggy will only take 2 arrows to blow up, and in the process of doing that, you are going to damage the player as well because of the explosive damage it has. But it does depend where you hit the vehicles. If you hit them in a more stronger spot, then it'll probably take 3. The helicopters will also take 2 hits to blow up. You'll see here, I hit someone dead on with the bow, which damages the driver and the helicopter. But before I even get a chance to hit the heli, again, the pilot jumps out. You can normally do a swift finish on them with the bow because they've already lost their armor. Now, the Bertha truck will take up to 4 or even 5 to go down. We know these trucks are already extremely overpowered, and they're still a pain to deal with, even with this bow. But the combat bow is pretty much a pocket launcher to have on. But moving on to players, directly hitting players with this in the explosive radius doesn't seem to one-shot kill them. I think if they've not got full shields, you could possibly down them in 1 hit. But it does seem to be a 2-shot, and that's hitting people near enough to the target. If you're playing solos, yeah, I guess pick this up early game and have it there. There's a lot of people that are going to be running around in vehicles, and this is going to help with it. I can imagine you could use this as an alternative to hit people who are hiding around corners, seeing how the arrows do actually have explosive damage. You miss your shot even point blank with this thing, you're in big trouble. The best way to use it is with vehicles or people hiding around corners. I also do think EOD will sponge some of the damage, but this thing is really fun to use against vehicles. Now here is all 10 shack locations where the bow can actually spawn on the map. So the first location we're going to be talking about is the one that's just to the right of the summit. It is in the top left corner of this map. Coming up here, you are going to find the shack, and the combat bow normally just spawns right here. You can also loot these places. They have somewhat okay loot. I mean, maybe you get lucky with a few crates. If you're really desperate, and yeah, you can go to them. The next location is just actually going to be just below Summit. This one is definitely most out the way. It's in the top left corner of the map. And it is just a little shack that you can just enter here. In between the two tunnels here is where you're going to find it. The next location is just going to be beneath the 21 bunker that you see in the military base. If you go south from here, in between the apartment buildings, you're going to find the next Rambo shack hideout. A few items to loot in here. This is where the next one is. And another location is going to be just above the salt mine. You're going to find a location just around here. It's a little bit tricky because it's kind of hidden away. But you're going to see the shack there, the dog tags. And of course, the bow is going to spawn near the campfire. Another little spot for you to find, and it's more hidden out of the way. The next location is just going to be beneath Array into the right TV station. You're going to find this little shack location here. Kind of near that radio tower there. You can go down here. You're going to find a little bonfire pit. I'm pretty sure the bow normally spawns there. This is another location here. The next location is going to be near hospital. This one is actually inside the tunnel where the train normally goes through. You can just park down here and go inside. There's a little bit of loot in here. Might get lucky with the odd crate. I mean, look, an orange crate in here. Of course, like I said, these are all kind of okay loot spots to go to if you really are desperate. The next one is going to be at the campsite, kind of where you see the bunkers that were never available right here. The campsite is just on top of the hill, and it is around here, just to the kind of top right of stadium. And the combat bow normally is at the camp. A few crates to loot around here, and then you've got this little shack here at the bottom, which you can also find crates in. The next location is going to be just to the left of prison and below port. Another good location because if the plane's coming over this way, you know, more towards this side, this is kind of the only one that's going to be in the bottom. Here you're going to find the little shack, normally has a crate inside, but the bow will normally spawn here where this crate is. The next location you're going to find in this kind of little small forest tree line bit, it is just to the right of the boneyard and above the train station right here in the middle. Here you're going to be able to find a shack and a little bonfire outside. You can normally go in here and there's a crate. Loot is pretty random, but that is the other spot where you can find a bow. Now, the very last location is going to be in the bottom left side of the map. You're going to find it in Promenade West. You come over to here, kind of near where you're going to see the fire station. It is here where you can find the next bow. You've got little bits here. That is all 10 shack locations around the map. It is good to try and remember these off by heart. You don't want to be going into that, you know, Hangar 21, activating the map and then seeing where they are. Just remember them, go off by heart. You don't have to activate the map. The bow will just randomly be spawned here, and you can just loot any area that's the closest to you to find the bow. Guys, I hope this video has helped you, and I've gone a little bit in depth on how to find the bow, how good it actually is, and where the shack locations are, so you can get it. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like on it, and make sure you leave a comment if you find anything else that you can use with them dog tags. I am interested to know that. But as always, hopefully there's new content soon. There's a new pistol that's coming out in Warzone. I'll cover that for you when I can. But as always, see you lot later.